Hey guys, this is OG from Crypto Nights back with another cryptocurrency video. Today we'll look at Bitcoin as we always do. So, quick recap and price action. Bitcoin was in this symmetrical triangle. We broke down, then we broke back in again. We broke down again, then we broke out. And now Bitcoin is forming this rising wedge or rising channel, however you want to call it. And in essence, it's trading within this range. And so it formed a low here, a high, higher low, higher high, and price moved, actually retraced a little bit within the last a little bit here when we moved up to 41k, and then we started moving down, and so there was some bearish momentum or bearish price action, and now Bitcoin is at support. Right, so we see that there is support here in terms of the last swing high, so potentially turning resistance into support. We also have the 200 period SMA coming in here as support, and it's actually getting close to the bottom of this wedge or channel, right, as well. So it's not exactly there, but it's close enough. It's within this region. So this zone here is a support zone, and we are seeing that price has initially bounced, right? So we see price come down. We formed a engulfing kind of candlestick pattern, and price has continued to move up. The only thing is that volume has been very, very small, right? So if volume had been bigger, I probably would have jumped in along here upon the close of this candlestick, so at 39.2k, but I kind of passed up on that trade because volume was actually below average. We want to see volume be above average, ideally something like this, right? Something like huge spikes like this to show us that there is conviction in the move. Whereas here, while it is possible that we have continuation and for trades to play out, even if we don't have a lot of volume, the probability of doing so is lower, and also the size of the move is likely going to be smaller. So you're looking at a potentially worse win probability and a worse risk reward ratio at the same time. So even though this trade went up a little bit since that entry, right, quote unquote entry, 1.5%, it's a trade that I personally passed up on. And so the question now is, where is price headed next, right? So let's zoom in to the 1 hour to gain some more perspective. Okay, so this is that channel, right, or that wedge that we saw on the 4 hour, now expanded a little bit more. So again, this is the S&R flip, support and resistance flip right here. We saw that price is kind of bouncing off of that. We also see that this is where the 200 period moving averages are on the 1 hour time frame, and so again showing confluence of support in this area. But again, what made me hesitant was that one, volume slow, right, as you can see here, and also price actually didn't exactly come down to touch the 200 period moving average. It almost made it there but didn't, and historically, based on the trades that I've taken, there's a higher probability of success if price touches these moving averages as opposed to getting close but not touching it. In fact, the highest probability of winning is when price actually touches both and then bounces off, because then it shows that this whole zone has been tested and that there's conviction in the move upwards. Whereas with price not touching either of these MAs, there's a probability that price will even upon this small bounce might come back down to test them before moving up. So because the risk of that is higher, that's also another reason why I passed up on this trade. I'm potentially waiting for price to come down here, so to this zone of 37.5 to, let's say, 38k, right? This is a potential region where I would be looking for a long if we get volume confirmation and we get candlestick price action confirmation. So potentially something like this, right, where it comes back down, and then we have a big wick, right, something and we get rejected from the bottom, right, where bulls come in and push prices up, whether that's in the form of a pin bar or in the form of a bullish engulfing pattern. And honestly, it doesn't really matter, but some sort of bullish candlestick pattern followed by or along with high volume, right? That would be where I would be looking for a long entry. Of course, that said, right, price could just continue up, right, because as I mentioned, just because there's low volume doesn't mean that the move won't play out. So it's also possible that we'll just head up like this, right? In which case I would have missed this move, but it's okay. It's okay to miss trades. Or then in that case, the most likely next move for it would be to retest the top of this, this channel, right? So which would be around, depending on how fast price gets there, right? It could be somewhere around 43K perhaps, right? But we have to keep in mind that before then we have this daily macro resistance at 42.5K, right? 42.5 to 43K, this whole region. So essentially this whole zone right here, it's large resistance, right? 25, so 42.5 to 43K. Right, we've been mentioning this level for the past few days, right? This is the key level for Bitcoin to flip bullish on the daily macro perspective, and for us to entertain price going up to 65K and beyond, right? We must break this level, this zone. And then on the downside, as I mentioned, right, this is if price does come down further, then this is where I'm looking for price to hold, right? This 37.5 to 38K, right? So these are the two zones that we want to be looking at, right? On the bottom, 37.5 to 38K, and on the top, 42.5 to 43K. In the middle, I'm not really looking for any major trades, at least not on the 4 hour or the 1 hour time frames. Now, if we move down to the 15-minute chart, so yesterday, right, this is where I posted yesterday, where price was rallying very nicely, right, up until 41K. We came back down, retested it. Unfortunately, we formed a false breakout, right? This was the classic false breakout pattern where price moved up close above, right? This is very important, close above, which brought in a lot of longs, right? Because a lot of breakout traders will see that we have broken out of this zone, right? This consolidation, and some people go long. But the key thing here is that price immediately afterwards went back down and closed back down of this 41K, right? So this is fake out, right? And we close above, got a lot of people to come in, then close below, right? If you had gotten into a long here, closing about around this level would make sense, right? Would be something safe to do, right? In which case you would have only suffered a very small loss, right? So and then we saw that once price got rejected or had this false breakout, price came down, right? We tested the 200 moving average on the 15-minute, kind of bounced up a little bit up and down, but eventually this level gave as well, so we came back down. And then yesterday posted on TradingView and in my Discord channel when we had this 15-minute bullish RSI divergence, right, where we saw price come lower, but the RSI was moving higher, right? And I said that this is potentially an indication that price, this bearish price action might start to slow down or end, but it might not, right? So price actually did come back a little bit, but then went back lower, and it's been kind of meandering around this area, and we're now kind of coming back to test the backside of the 200 MAs, and this time it's looking at something as resistance. Typically I would be looking for shorts around the retest of the 200 MA, especially if it's the first retest. But this isn't the first retest, right? Because we see that here, even though this was a wick, in a way this was the first retest, right? So a short here could have maybe made sense, right, upon this close, and this would have been a quick like 1.52% move. This though, this is the second retest, and ideally on a second retest I might take the trade, but only if there's enough separation between the first and second retest, which there isn't here, right? This is pretty much the same region, right? Whereas if price had done this, right, if we got rejected here, price moved down here, then came back up, then I would consider there to be enough room, right, enough space for a trade, right? So if this was forming after it moved down like that, then I will be looking for a short trade here, but that's not what happened. So right now on the 15-minute as well, I'm kind of just sitting and watching. I'm really looking more for a potential trade on the 1 hour or the 4 hour once we get into those those zones I mentioned earlier, the 37.5 to 38K on the bottom, and 42.5 to 43K on the top side. And so that's where I'm looking at in terms of price action for Bitcoin and the trades that I'm waiting for, right? Potentially trade setups for Bitcoin to form before I get jumping into any new positions. Okay, so this is it for today. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, appreciate you guys. And if you find value in this video, please do give this video a thumbs up. And let me know in the comments below whether or not you think this bounce here is going to hold, and if price will continue to go up, or if you think this bounce here is a dead cat bounce with no volume, and we're going to see another leg down. Leave your comment, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And thank you guys, and see you guys in the next video.